Hello, and welcome to President Pat's podcast at North Shore Community College. I'm Dr. Pat Gentili, proud president of North Shore Community College in Massachusetts. Today's podcast will feature the college's community greenhouse at our Lynn campus and the partnerships that are involved with it. Today's guests are North Shore Community College Professor Barbara Heath, John Wang, North Shore Regional Director of the Food Project, and Jennifer Coverdale, Lynn Urban Farm Manager from the Food Project. Welcome to all of you. Barb, it's hard to believe that just last fall, we formally cut the ribbon on the Lynn campus greenhouse. Can you tell us a little bit about how the greenhouse came to be and the educational programs here at North Shore Community College that it supports?
Sure, Pat. The greenhouse and the college go way back. We've had greenhouse programming since our days on the former Essex Agricultural and Technical School campus. And the greenhouse has always been important for the hands-on component of what we teach our students. So it was really something we sorely missed when we had to give up our space on the Essex Tech campus when that was redeveloped. And when we opened the new greenhouse this fall, it really brought in this partnership with the Food Project. We were fortunate enough to get capital skills funding from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that paid for the installation of the greenhouse. It's 1,200 square feet. It's state-of-the-art with automated heating and ventilation, and it's got an aquaponics component. We'll be hosting classes in the early childhood education area and in STEM. So it's going to really be a collaborative enterprise across the curriculum here at school.
Well, I think it's really important that people understand there's a history of the hands-on greenhouse development, and it became, through program review, a clear need here. So we were very fortunate to put a proposal together and get that funding, add some additional funding toward it, and to produce what I think is a wonderful greenhouse here. So what exactly can this new and wonderful and leading-edge greenhouse support?
Well, typically, it can do anything a greenhouse will do. So we have benches for growing and starting crops. We have aquaponics unit that I'll be starting up this fall and learning a little bit about myself. We also have a rain catchment system so that we can promote recycling and water resources. And we have compost bins already set up that we are hoping to integrate into some of the surrounding classrooms and get folks to add their lunch debris and their weeding from the gardens and whatnot. We're also looking forward to raised beds outside the greenhouse in that little strip in between the parking lot and Broad Street. And that's going to allow us to have more hands-on laboratory space outdoors to complement the 1,200 square feet in the greenhouse. The programs that will be involved besides early childhood education and STEM are the culinary arts students. We're hoping to get some specialty crops started for them so that when we go to harvest, they'll be able to integrate that into servings at the Beacon Restaurant in Middleton.
That's wonderful. Those programs are pretty special, and I think not something we've actually done before with the old greenhouse, so this is really interesting and new. Can you tell us a little bit more about them in terms of what I think you've termed the culinary stuff and the food medicine?
Sure. So our focus used to be ornamental horticulture. We grew stuff that was pretty to look at. People would come to our sale and buy petunias and geraniums and go home happy. And we've switched the focus to healthy eating, local and sustainable food production that not just supports the body of the person that eats it, but supports the local community. And so that's where our partnership with the Food Project comes in. And then we have a new curriculum that was it hasn't been run yet. It's going to be piloted called Food is Medicine. And that looks at that integration between what we put into our bodies and how healthy our bodies can be. And that will be part of the Certified Dietary Management Certificate that's approved. And it's the only one in the region, I believe.
Very cool. Well, you've brought up the food project collaboration. So, John, tell us a little bit about what the food project collaboration is about from your end, from the food project's viewpoint.
Yeah. So we're first very excited to partner with North Shore Community College around the greenhouse. So we're going to be assisting in like a lot of the operations of the greenhouse. And what this is going to provide to us is an opportunity for, us to expand kind of like our, farming operations here in the city of Lynn in partnership with young folks in combination. So instead of, traveling further in like suburban community of Beverly, which takes about 45 minutes for us to get to, we can just walk across the street, like from our office, to have access to a wonderful resource. And like our youth in combination with that will be able to grow a lot of different seedlings that will be distributed throughout the Lynn community to a lot of residents throughout the city who are trying to grow their own food and increase their access to healthy, fresh produce. So we have a strong partnership with community members around the city, which, we're excited to bring to the greenhouse as well. And then we're really excited to explore the possibilities, which we've already talked about with North Shore Community College students around student partnerships between students here and students that we work with in high schools around Lynn and the North Shore. And some of the work that they will be working around together will be a Salad Days initiative that we've worked with Lynn Public Schools, where every third grader gets a chance to harvest or grow, take care of, and eat their own lettuce mix, daily operations at the greenhouse, and learning kind of what it takes to operate that, getting more, integrated with some of the farms and new farms that we have that are going up around here in Lynn, and just working together like students from high school and college, I think will be really exciting. This partnership is also being driven, we've gotten guidance from a resident-led initiative called Lynn Grows, which is mostly resident-directed in terms of how to build a better food system that can work for everyone here in the city. And the greenhouse is an essential part of that, to be able to expand kind of our growing operations to make sure that everyone has access to fresh, local, healthy, culturally relevant food. So those are some of the things that we're super excited about, and Jen can talk about some details.
These are very exciting partnerships, and something I think that really adds tremendous value to the Lynn area community. Jen, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role, what you're looking forward to in terms of the partnership?
Yeah, so I am the urban farm manager and market manager. So to tell you a little bit about my day-to-day job, I was just over at 2 of the Elhan senior housing residences this morning with some of our high school students. They came to the farm. We have a farm in the city of Lynn. A lot of folks, I think, don't even know it's there. It's up behind the Ingalls Elementary School. It's about 1 acre in size. So we grew hundreds of thousands of plants in the greenhouse at the college. And like John was saying before, anytime we used to need to plant something at the farm, we'd have to drive 45 minutes to the Beverly greenhouse, bring it back to the city, put the crops in the ground. Anyone who's ever worked in a garden on a farm before can imagine like how crazy that is. So yeah, everything that's on our farm right now that wasn't directly seeded into the ground was grown in this greenhouse. So we were over at these Elhan residences this morning with some of our high school students. They came to the farm at 7:30 this morning, harvested onions that we started in the greenhouse back in February, harvested kale and squash and beets, like all these things that came out of the college greenhouse. And we took them over across town, and people were able to use their senior market coupons that are distributed by the state to pick up their free produce. And it was beautiful and fresh, and it was grown within 2 or 3 miles of where these folks live, and it was delivered to them by young people who live in the city. So that's a little bit of what my role is as the urban, like the farm manager, kind of like John described our work, and then I get to kind of be on the ground, like working with those youth, like on the farm, helping to run those markets. And I am so excited about just the proximity. Like, it's such a gift to be able to have our space so close to our farm and our office, and like even where these young people live and can walk so easily to work. And then just the visibility for them and for other folks in the community to get to be part of that seed to fork process is pretty magical. To be in the greenhouse in January, seeding an onion that you're going to harvest in August while the snow is falling down outside. It's just like a really, like, I love doing that work, and I'm excited to be able to share it with them more. And then also with our community gardeners that will have plots outside. I'm excited to learn from Barb's students. And I think, like John was talking about salad days that we do with the little kids, and our high school students often help out with that. And I think of like the possibility for mentorship and inspiration, like the students here who are like somewhat older, and a little bit further ahead of our high school students, just that natural connection of like, oh, we're in high school and we're working on a farm and we're getting to work alongside or kind of like rub shoulders with these like older kids or young adults who are making that their career and are really awesome. So I just think it's pulling the community together in this really neat, like really beautiful location, like highly visible way. So it's exciting for me.
Well, we're excited too. It is honestly exciting and inspirational, and I think taking this wonderful greenhouse and utilizing it to be a better community partner is really important for North Shore Community College too. I do believe that we'll get tons of benefits as well out of this in terms of not only community relations, but hopefully some of those students in high school are going to say, I might want to enroll at North Shore Community College and go into the horticultural field.
Yeah, the horticulture students are awesome. So I think they'll definitely feel that way.
So back to you, Barb. When you see the opportunities for North Shore Community College students and food project participants to collaborate, what do you see down the line in terms of the future for North Shore Community College?
So we've talked about a couple of things. Jen already alluded to having the community garden spaces outside. We're planning on having our students have their own beds and maintain some beds that are free to the community. They're the if you're hungry, pick something beds.
Right.
When it comes back to programming, one of the things we're talking about is some early gateway to college opportunities in horticulture. I've already been working with Jill Thornton on that, so that if there are students that come across the food project crew, come from the food project crew, and they're interested in trying out the horticulture program, then they could take a Gateway to College course in horticulture.
Cool.
Making it a little more relevant, and that carrot, no pun intended, is just a little shinier. Little shinier when it's something you really want to study, right?
Right.
And then we have just with the aquaponics and the culinary side of things, the sky is kind of going to be the limit in terms of what culinary wants us to grow and what they want to do with it. And so that's exciting for me because I haven't had anything new come across my plate, probably in 10 years. And when you're teaching, it's nice to have those new shiny projects to get excited about and to kind of revamp. And then looking at the grounds here at the college and incorporating them as a learning lab, making the space around the front of the building that the public sees and around the greenhouse a permaculture environment, meaning we plant it as an edible landscape. We plant it to teach our students and to teach the Lynn students that Jen and the Food Project are mentoring, but also to teach everybody. So it becomes a living lab. So that's another project on the horizon.
Well, I am certainly very excited about this partnership. And to give you a pun back, I'm looking forward to growing this program over time. I want to thank you, Barb, John, and Jen for spending some time to describe this partnership and what you see in terms of the future and how exciting it is. This is Dr. Pat Gentili, president of North Shore Community College, and I hope you learned something new and interesting today. If you're enjoying this podcast, I invite you to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play, and be sure to leave a review or a suggestion of what you'd like to know more about for future episodes. Until next time, ciao.